Afternoon, everyone. My name is Wally Rauder. I'm your trainer for today's leadership series. How is everyone? Can everyone wave to me, please? Wave to me, everyone. Hi, it's good to see some of you. Hello, El Nagorni. Hello, Joan. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Tet Suhyang. Hi, everyone. I hope everybody's having a wonderful afternoon wherever you're from. I'm coming to you live from Da Nang in the country of Vietnam. Da Nang is a coastal city in Vietnam, and the weather here is slightly overcast, and it's a beautiful day. I hope everybody's ready for an exciting insight into the authentic leader. Is everybody ready for today's session? Yes or no? Can you wave your hands to me? Everybody wave their hands to me. Come on. Show me your great hands. I want to see all these exciting hands. Come on, everybody, switch on your cameras and let's have a great afternoon today. Is everybody ready for today's session? Yes or no? All right, switch on your cameras, everyone. Okay, and let me share my screen. Before I do that, we've still got people coming in. Let's just wait 2 minutes. People are still joining us. We'll just wait 2 minutes and we'll make a start. Okay, all right. It seems like people are straying in constantly. In the meantime, let me just share my slides and start with a brief introduction to today's topic. So today we're talking about what the word authentic means. Can anybody tell me what does authentic mean to you? Who can tell me what authentic means? Can you put up your hand? Anybody know what the word authentic means? Hi, Sherb. Sherb Zangmo. Hi, where are you from, Sherb? Sharab, where are you from? Are you there, Sharab? You need to switch on your camera, Sharab, and I can't hear you. Okay, let's go on. Uh, who have we got? Hi, Tapella. Welcome back, Tapella. Tell me, Tapella, what does the word authentic mean to you? Go ahead, Tapella.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah. Good. What does authentic mean to you?
It means real. It means legit.
Very good. Thank you very much, Tapello. Much appreciate that. That's a great explanation. The word authentic means to be real and to be legit. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at that and what that means so far as leadership. Leadership is the act of leading people, managing people for results. So what we're going to try to do today is look at where does the word authentic come into play when you're talking about leadership and the role of leaders, not only in a small business, but in a multinational corporation as such. Okay, so we're going to talk about the role of leadership on a small scale and a large scale, not only leadership in business, but leadership in your personal life. How does it affect your personal relationships if you are authentic? What does the word authentic mean? We've just heard two explanations of the word authentic. All right, so let's start today's session. Let me share my screen. Okay, here we go, guys. Just one moment. Just one moment, will you? Okay, here we go. All right, so today we're talking about 21st century authentic leadership and practices. And we said being authentic is about being honest, it's about being transparent, and it's about delivering your message the way you would like it delivered to you from your heart. So let's talk about it and let's see where we go with this. The main word in today's leadership lesson is the word authentic. And what we mean by authentic is to be true to oneself and to the principles that guide you. So you can't pretend to be someone that you're not when you're trying to lead others. You have to deliver with passion as you, as an individual. You have to show the people you're talking to that you are being upfront and transparent with them if they are to feel a sense of belongingness or feel like they are interested or involved or related or have sense of ownership to the topic you're talking about. Does everybody understand this? Yes or no? Okay, so if we look at the word authentic, it means to be true to oneself and the principles that guide you. So what that means in simple term is you need to be simple and transparent, because if you're honest and behave as you behave in yourself, it means you're being transparent, and you do it by delivering it in an honest and straightforward fashion, in a simple fashion where you don't complicate the issues. Somebody's drawing on my screen. Adina, could you put an end to it and remove the drawing from my screen, please? Thank you. All right. So simplicity and transparency. Whoever's drawing on my screen, could you please remove your lines? Otherwise, my co-host will remove you from the session. Thank you. All right. So what do we mean by simplicity? Simplicity is about making it simple, delivering it. Muhammad, can you remove the lines you put on my screen now? Muhammad, remove the lines off my screen, Muhammad. Just one moment, please. Let me try to fix what Muhammad has done. One moment, please. Okay, here we go. Okay, so simplicity is about being honest. It's about you being able to show the people that you understand the problem and you are trying to resolve it and communicate it in the simplest possible form. If you deliver the message without complicating it or confusing it, basically people build belief in you. They trust you. And trust, building trust or earning the trust of the people that you're trying to lead is the first principle of being authentic. All right, so let's go on. This man here, everybody should know. Does everybody know who this man is? Who is this man? Who can tell me? Can anybody tell me who this man is? Come on, who can tell me? I know Adina can tell me. My co-host can tell me who it is. Can anybody else tell me who this is? Who is that man? Can anyone tell me? Put your hand up. Come on. Great. Hi, Maria. Who is the man in the picture? Go ahead, Maria. Who is the man in the picture?
Steve Jobs.
Very good. Can you tell me, Maria, do you think Steve Jobs was authentic as a leader?
As far as I read, yes.
Okay, tell me, why do you think he was authentic? Tell me before I share with you.
First of all, he's true to his beliefs and feelings, to where he
He's
came from.
he's true to himself and his
Yes,
beliefs. Is that right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Do you think that he actually tried to do everything himself, or he relied on a team of people?
A team of people.
Right. Do you think Steve Jobs could have done everything he did to make Apple Inc. what it is today alone?
Nope,
Okay. Do you think he could have done it if he was not authentic?
nope.
Very good. Thanks, Maria. Okay. Can anybody else give me an example of somebody like Steve Jobs that you think is authentic? Any great leader who would like to share with me? Come on. I want at least one other great leader. Who can give me another great leader? Any great leader. Come on. Everybody should know one great leader. How about you, Joan? Joan Amurayo. Hi, Joan. Can you share the name of a great leader with me? Go ahead. Are you there, Joan? Give me the name of a great leader.
I will go for Donald Trump as a previous president of the United States.
All right, but let me ask you, do you think Donald Trump was authentic?
Yes, because it's my opinion for myself. Yeah, for me, he was authentic when he was in the position.
All right, so as a president, you think he was authentic to his people?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I much appreciate it. All right. Let's go on. Anybody else would like to put up their hands? Yes, Sherry, who would you like to put up as an authentic leader? Go ahead.
The former Prime Minister of Singapore, which is Lee Kuan Yew.
Okay, why?
He is the founder. He's the father of the founder of modern
Very
Singapore.
okay. And can you tell me why do you think this person is authentic?
Based on what I've read and what I've watched, Lee Kuan Yew is what is Singapore is right now. He is the one who stabilized all the businesses. He opened
Yeah.
Singapore for more businesses, for more of the investors. That's why Singapore nowadays is one of the richest country of the world.
Thank you for your input, Cheryl. Very positive input. Thank you so much. We'll talk about that again shortly. Okay, anybody else would like to share with me? Yeah, go ahead. Rima Abdul Qadir. Hi, Rima. Welcome back. What have you got to share with me today, Rima? Go ahead.
I think Jack Ma also among the great leaders because he came up with Alibaba. That is, uh, it opened up like a platform that where all people can access to big suppliers and purchase from authentic and genuine sources.
All right. Can you tell me what you think are the qualities of Jack Ma that made him authentic?
Yeah, as I was saying, is when he made Alibaba, it
Yes.
was a platform, yeah, where all people, let's say, if me, I want to buy something from a factory, but I don't know if
Yeah.
the factory is genuine or no. So I just go through Alibaba. I saw the factories that are verified and that how many years they have been there. And then I just contact them and I don't mind to TT or do telegraphic transfer without being worried if they are scam or not.
Okay, thank you for that. That's
Yeah.
not a bad definition. So he was
Mm.
honest and transparent in the way he did business, and he
Yeah.
tried to deliver a clear message about what Alibaba was doing. Is that what you're
Yeah.
trying to tell me? Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
Thank you. All right. Does anybody else want to share any idea before we go on? Who else have I got? Yeah, I've got one more. Ravelli. Hi, Ravelli. Tell me, what have you got to share?
Hey, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Mark Zuckerberg, sir. Mark Zuckerberg, the
Okay,
founder
good.
of
Why?
Facebook.
Why?
Because he developed the number one largest platform, social media platform these days. It's called Facebook.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And why do you think he'll go down as being authentic? Give me reasons for authentic. Is it his honesty, the clarity, or what?
He's the first who came up to develop the Facebooks for entertainment and
Yeah, okay. He was the first person to come up with the technology, but was he
mm,
authentic?
yes,
That's what
sir.
I'm trying to establish. You
Yes,
think he
sir.
was authentic, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your input. Much appreciated. We'll talk about that shortly. All right, guys. So you've all raised the names of different people, and each and every one of you has defined why these people are authentic for a different reason and in a different way. Am I right? Yes or no? Wave your hands, everyone. Does everybody agree with me? Okay, so let's go on and talk about the guy that we started with. Let's talk about the man that you all identified in the picture. For those of you who don't know this man, it is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs founded Apple, and he started Apple with a motto that he made famous from the day he first came back to Apple. Remember, Jobs worked for Apple. They fired him. And then after 2 years of running his own company, they bought him and his company so he could come back and run Apple. He said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. It takes a lot of hard work to make something simple, to truly understand the underlying challenges that come up with elegant solutions. All right. So what he was trying to tell the world is that not only is his product, Apple, going to be simple and simple to use, but the way he leads the company and the way the people in the company work around coming up with solutions has to be simple. If they rely on a simple logic, it's much easier to come up with a product that the end everyday consumer wants to use. Remember, the reason Apple became one of the world's leading brands is because it took complex technology and simplified it so everybody could use it. The Apple Mac, the AirBook Mac, or the Mac AirBook, the MacBook, or your Apple iPhone, your Apple Watch, all of these items that Jobs brought about through his visualization of a new technology that came after the good old Nokia. Does everybody remember a Nokia phone? Can you wave your hands? Remember the Nokia banana? Everybody remembers that, right? Okay, so Jobs came up with something to go beyond that simple analog phone. And for him, simplicity was the core. He said, you have to deeply understand the essence of a product in order to be able to get rid of the parts that are not essential. And that's exactly what he did. He came up with a product, the smartphone, that eliminated everything that people don't want. And what he started doing is putting into the iPhone the real things that people want. Incredible camera, simple technology. All right. He even built a virtual assistant that you can talk to in Apple. Okay. In your iPhone. Everybody knows about that, right? Okay. So when you use an iPhone, you can actually talk and somebody will answer your voice commands. That is one of the technologies that Jobs envisaged through his simple analysis of what people really want. Okay. All right. Does anybody have an iPhone? Yes or no? Put your hands up if you have an iPhone. Does anybody have an iPhone? Who has an iPhone? Come on. Okay. Can anybody tell us who's the virtual assistant in iPhone? Does anyone know? Okay. Sharath Kumar, tell me. Here we go. Who else? We got Sharath Kumar, no? All right. All right. Effie Baltazar. Baltazar, hi, how are you? Do you use an iPhone?
Yes,
Yes
sir.
or no? Hi, do you
Yeah.
use an iPhone? And do you
Yeah.
use the virtual assistant in iPhone? Do you talk to her?
Yeah, sometimes the Siri.
Okay. When you talk to her, what do you ask her?
Like if I need something about what's the weather today, like that,
Have you ever
or the
asked her,
music I want
have
to
you,
play.
all right, have
I'm
you
sorry for the
ever asked,
background. Conversation is
okay, have you
watching TV.
ever asked her, have you ever said good morning to her and heard her reply?
Not yet.
Try it because she'll
I
reply to you.
barely use Siri.
Well, Siri is a very smart, artificial
Yeah.
intelligence. And if you go to her
And it's
in
like
late evening, if you go to her in late evening and say good morning, she will correct you. She'll say good evening, but in my part of the world, it's good morning. So Siri is a smart artificial intelligence. Thank you, Effie. Fee. So artificial intelligence was one of the simple solutions that Steve Jobs brought to the iPhone through his creation. Please switch on your camera, Fee Baltazar, so you get a certificate. All right. So it was one of the means of him showing the world how simple the technology can be. It's an extension of his definition of the word simplicity. Okay, let's go on. Okay. So was Jobs really authentic? Was he authentic? Jobs was a person who was able to accept failure, both personal and professional, and learning from them. Steve Jobs applied the same focus and pursuit to excellence to his own life and to that he had to his many corporate ventures. In this way, he was authentic as a leader because he took the simple things that he wanted to see in the technology in his everyday life and he brought those to Apple. So was Steve Jobs authentic? He was. Simplicity, the word simplicity. Okay, let's go on. Does anybody know who this man is? Can anybody tell me who this man is? Anybody know? Does anybody know who this man is? Does anybody know who this man is? Yes, Roland, who is this man? Go ahead, Roland.
I think that is Mr. Macintosh, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
no, absolutely not. That is the famous and one and all. He's gone now. He's deceased. It is Mr. Jack Welch. Have you ever heard of Jack
Jack
Welch,
Welch.
Roland? Okay, Jack Welch was
No, sir.
he was a former CEO of one of the largest companies in the world, General Electric. Have you heard of General Electric, Roland?
Yes, sir. I know it.
General Electric make electrical appliances, fridges, and
Yes.
aircraft engines. Jack Welch was one of the greatest CEOs that took GE from what it was to what it is today. All right. Okay.
Yes, they
So
manufactured also the General Electric, which is the refrigerator, sir.
absolutely, absolutely right. Let's talk about Jack Welch. Was Jack Welch authentic? The late Jack Welch was the CEO of General Electric from 1981 to 2001. There was three aspects of his leadership which remain relevant today. First and foremost, he believed that to get people decisions right, he needed to be honest and transparent. Welsh was passionate about putting the right people in the right roles. Okay. He wanted to speak with candor. What do we mean with candor? He was always honest. He never kept secrets. He told people whether they're good, bad, or whether they had to improve. There was no secrets. The only thing that Jack Welch may have been negative towards is that he put the company's profitability first. Okay. He was always curious about what people had, what people wanted, and about them being able to deliver their best. And the only way he was able to do that, to keep them motivated, was to make them instability curious. He never let them get too comfortable. Every time they thought they were doing well, he gave them more. Because the more challenges you give people, the more motivated you are. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Can you wave your hands to me, everyone? So honesty and transparency in the Jack Welch philosophy was by being honest, curious, and keeping people motivated by keeping them curious. Welch always had a hunger to learn. These are principles that can work for today's managers as well as they did for him because he was candid. He knew what he was good at. He learnt from others anything he didn't know, and he was candid. He was curious. He always asked questions, and he was open and transparent. Does anybody know who this is? Who can tell me who this is? Can anybody tell me, girls? Do you know who this is? Come on. Who knows who this is? All right, we've got a hand up. Kong Don, who is there? Go ahead, Kong. Hi, Kong. Who is that?
Hello, sir. I think she Oprah Winfrey.
Very good. Do you think that Oprah Winfrey was authentic, and why?
Yeah, I think she extremely authentic because she is the most famous host in the world. Uh, she uh, have a very poor childhood, but
All right, but
gradually,
what qualities do you think that Oprah Winfrey had
yeah,
that made her authentic? Was it the
yeah,
way she dealt with the audience, or what? Tell me.
yeah. I think is from the inspiration from her, the inspiration to transform the uh, determination to overcome any difficulty in her life, and also uh, she's not
All right.
she did not give up. Yeah, it's always
All right.
child for
Okay.
child.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, your voice is not very clear, Kong. You might want to check your microphone, all right? But thank you for that. I understood what you said. So, basically what we're saying is that Oprah Winfrey delivered a style of honesty. She was always open. She basically made the audience that watched her feel like she was their sister or best friend. Okay, so let's talk about Oprah Winfrey and let's see why Oprah Winfrey may be considered one of the authentic leaders of the world. Okay, why is Oprah Winfrey considered? Oprah Winfrey was an actress, former television show host, and she is now CEO of one of the largest television production companies in the United States. She also owns several other companies around the world, like one of Africa's best recognized private school, okay, to educate ladies and girls and build and instill the Oprah philosophy of leadership, success, and simplicity in those young ladies. All right. She has been able to achieve great success by leading with empathy, embracing failure, and being authentic. Whether she was talking to her audience, whether she was talking to other companies and building her empire, she has always been like every other person in the street. She has never pretended to be something she's not. When she ran her TV show, she actually had companies give away gifts to her audience. So her people, the audience that came to watch her actually felt like they were being acknowledged. She said to companies that wanted to promote goods on her show, okay, you want to promote goods, let's be transparent. Everybody that comes to the studio, all the audience, get the goods that you want to promote. She was very transparent and she was able to embrace failure. If she did something and it didn't work, she simply did it again. You look at all the world's most successful leaders, whether it's Steve Jobs, okay, Jeff Bezos, or Oprah Winfrey, or Jack Welch. All of these people learnt from their mistakes. The bigger the mistake, the more they learnt and the more successful they became. Let's talk about the world's most authentic leaders. Tell me if you recognize all these names. Steve Jobs, former CEO of Apple. Martin Luther King, leader of the civil rights movement. Sam Palmisano, former CEO of IBM. Oprah Winfrey, actress, former television show host. Jack Welch, former CEO of GE. Anne Mulcahy, former CEO of Xerox, the people that make photocopying machines and x-ray machines. Warren Buffett, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, which is one of the largest investment groups in the world. Does everybody recognize these names? Does anybody have any questions about any of these names? Does anybody have any questions? There is one more man that has recently been added to the list of authentic leaders. He's the man that runs Jollibee in the Philippines. Does everybody know Jollibee? Could you wave your hands if you know Jollibee? Okay. The guy that started Jollibee, who was originally born in China, and his father used to work as a Chinese restaurant cook, who is now one of the richest businessmen in the Philippines through the Jollibee fast food brand, or Chicken Joy, which made him famous. He is now seen as one of the world's 21st century authentic leaders. He follows the same mode of honesty and transparency in his leadership and in his food. He says to the world, I'm a Filipino. My food must reflect my Filipino heritage. The chicken reflects the Filipino liking for juicy, big pieces of chicken. The bolognese sauce respects the Filipino taste bud. He took the taste of adobo and he brought that into bolognese with the same sort of aftertaste as adobo when you swallow it. It's not too sweet, it's not too sour, it's in the middle. Okay? Everything that he does shows his authenticity, Filipino. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands, please. Okay. Let's go on. Okay, so what we've done today is we've just added Jollibee's founder to this great list. Let's go on. Okay, so let's go back and summarize what we've learned so far. One moment, please. Sorry, let me just get rid of this. Okay, so authenticity, ladies and gentlemen, is summarized by three clear definitions. I want everybody to repeat these after me. Being true to yourself. Okay? Being open with others. Being honest and doing the right thing. Would everybody agree that the people we've spoken about today have done that? Would all of you agree with that? Does anybody disagree that the people we've spoken about today have in their own way met those three requirements? Would you all agree with that? Yes or no? Come on, put up your hands. All right, great, excellent. Can I ask you, let's ask, is anybody here currently got a new boyfriend? Don't be shy. Anybody got a new boyfriend? New boyfriend. Not existing, new. That means in the last 3 months. Put up your hand. Okay, we've got one or two. Okay, Mary, good Mary. Thank you for being honest. All right, Mary Ann, tell me, are you there, Mary Ann? Would you like to talk to me? Hello, Mary Ann. You need to switch on your camera, Mary Ann. Okay, so when we talk about our personal life, and we're looking for a relationship with a boyfriend or girlfriend, do you think that these three elements become important? Do these three elements become important? Does being true to yourself about whether he's right or wrong for you become important? Does him showing you that he's being true to you become important? Does the fact that he is open and honest with you become important? Do all of these facts about honesty, transparency, simplicity, and oneself become important? Can everybody wave their hands if you agree with me? Do they become important in your personal relationships? Very good. Excellent. 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 Okay. So simplicity or authenticity is not only important in corporate leadership, but also in your personal lives. Hi, Darwin. Do you want to talk to me, Darwin? Okay, good. Let's go on. Come back to me, Darwin, if you want to talk. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so we've learned about that. We've basically agreed that authenticity can be defined by 3 B's: being true to yourself, being open with others, and being honest and doing the right thing. It all comes back to simplicity, honesty, transparency. Can you write those 3 words down? Simplicity, honesty, transparency. Everybody write them down. Come on, show me your pens. Everyone, simplicity, honesty, and transparency. Okay, let's go on. So, authenticity in business means that you'll be able to outsource more easily or delegate tasks to others. It means that you're honest to yourself and don't pretend to know everything and try to do everything yourself. It's called being oneself and being honest to yourself and to others. Don't pretend to be something that you're not. Essentially, authenticity allows you to say no to stress and drive straight toward your vision because you're being open, honest, and upfront about everything that you want to achieve or are focused on achieving for yourself or your business organization. Let's talk about the problems or the roadblocks or the challenges that the audience usually face or people usually face in being authentic. And a lot of leaders around the world have this problem, and that's why they fail. You know, some people say that toward the end of his time at GE, Jack Welch failed because even though he was an authentic leader, he became very focused on profitability and he seemed to go away from being caring about people. He was still authentic, but people went from being people to numbers. And the people at GE started turning away from him, even though for years he was an authentic leader. And that's why at the end, he walked away from GE and handed it over to someone else because he realized that he took the company from nothing and made it one of the greatest companies in American history. But at the end of the day, he was honest to himself. He had done what he could do, and he had now started doing damage, and he had to walk away from it. Do you all understand that? Yes or no? Okay. All right. So let's talk about Steve Jobs. Do you think Steve Jobs knew what he was doing? Do you think Steve Jobs knew that one day he couldn't run Apple Inc. anymore? Put your hands up if you think Steve Jobs knew. Steve Jobs knew that he was terminally sick. Steve Jobs knew that somebody one day had to take his vision and take it forward. Steve Jobs was well aware of what he was. He was honest to himself. He knew that he had been diagnosed with an illness which was terminal. And that's why he actually mapped out a 20-year blueprint for Apple. 20 years blueprint. That's why Tim Cook was specifically groomed to take over from Jobs. Jobs did not go away unexpectedly. Jobs did not just die and leave Apple on a cliffhanger. He didn't. And evidence of that was that after Jobs died, some 16 to 17 years later, actually more, 21 and a half years later, Apple had its first total world recall on one of its Apple phones. You remember that we started hearing news about iPhones blowing up on aircraft when they were being charged. The battery started blowing up. That was the first time Apple had to recall one of its iPhones worldwide globally. They told all their customers, do not use your phone, return it to Apple, and you can either get your money back or another iPhone or wait for this model to be rectified. And Apple went through a global total world recall for the first time, some 21 and a half to 22 years after Steve Jobs had died, because the technology in that phone was no longer what he defined in his blueprint. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Steve Jobs was transparent. Tim Cook knew that Jobs was sick. He knew about it 1 year before. Tim Cook knew that he was being groomed to take over from Jobs. Jobs was simple. He was transparent. He was honest. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Can you wave your hands to me, please? Very good. Thank you. Let me go back to my screen. So, three of the biggest problems that leaders face in actually being transparent are they fail to recognize, acknowledge, and the fear and self-doubt. Well, did Steve Jobs do that? No. He recognized he was dying. He recognized his fear. He was able to live with his fear of death. He was able to still hand over and groom someone to take over the company. Identify the root cause of the fear and self-doubt. That's another issue that leaders have. Jack Welch left it too late because by the time Jack Welch decided he had to go, people at GE were no longer believing in his philosophy that they mattered. They could only see dollars in his eyes. But he was focused on dollars all along. It just became a lot more important to him, and he was afraid of losing money because he was hungry to make a greater profit for the company. Practice self-compassion, no matter where you are. It doesn't matter whether you're the leader of a government, the leader of a company, or the owner of a company. Self-compassion is a core element of human behavior. Let's talk about that. Who can tell me, what does self-compassion mean? What does self-compassion mean? Who can put up their hand and tell me? Come on. What does self-compassion mean? Can anyone tell me? What is self-compassion? Come on. If you're compassionate, it means you feel sorry or you empathize with other people. You care about the people you're talking to or the people you're talking with. Ninja Zhao Xin Yu, you're asleep. You need to wake up and focus on the session to get a certificate. Ninja Zhao Xin Yu. If you're going to sleep, you will be taken off the attendance. You need to wake up, sit up straight, and pay attention. Otherwise, I'll remove you from the attendance. Do you understand that, Ninja? Can you wave your hand to me, please? Thank you. If I catch you asleep again, I'll remove you from the attendance. Okay? Thank you. All right. So self-compassion is feeling for others, having compassion for others. As the leader of a business or the owner of the business, would you agree with me that you have a responsibility to others to make sure they get their salary paid? That is compassion, right? Yes or no? Do you all agree with that? Yes or no? Very good. Thank you. All right. Does anybody have any questions for me so far? Anyone? No? Okay. Let's go on. So, when we talk about authenticity or being authentic, we're basically saying we're looking for the following elements. We're looking for sincerity, fairness, clarity, openness, truth, accuracy, directness, forthrightness, honesty, and believability. All of these words have the same meaning. Please take a picture so you can remember these words. Yes, forthrightness means honesty, being upfront and being honest, being transparent. Believability is having people believe in you. And accuracy is being accurate, not adding extra words to the story to make it sound better. As we say, black is black, white is white. It's only when you mix black and white together you come up with a color called gray. There's no light black. There's no dark black. There's only one black. Okay. All right, so the definition, transparency is about knowing how far we're prepared to go. How do we go, or how do we create true and accurate measures of performance for the people that work for us? Transparency helps you make clear decisions based on fact. Without transparency, companies cannot run because you need miracles, because you lose money. And if you can't get more money, you'll fold. Everybody that works for you will lose their job and become unemployed. Transparency is the core ingredient that motivates the people in your team to work for the same goal. They need to know what is the vision, what is the mission, what are the objectives of your company. And by you being transparent to them and recognizing them, they will feel motivated and feel a sense of responsibility towards your organization. Transparency in a business context is honesty and openness. In general, transparency is the quality of being easily seen. Transparent is a little different in a computer science context, coming closer to the meaning of invisible or undetectable. You can't be invisible. You can't be undetectable when you're a leader. You have to be transparent and you have to be honest and open. Do not confuse honest and open with the computer definition of transparency or IT definition of transparency. So transparency is the quality of a leader being easily seen, while transparency in a business or government's context refers to you being open and honest about what the company wants, what it does, and what its expectations are. As part of corporate governance or business governance, best practices, you are always required and encouraged to be honest and declare the relevant information to your shareholders and to your managers so they know how to run the business for you. Transparency is at the core of sharing the inner workings and decisions of your business to outsiders. Let's talk about transparency. If you want to borrow money from the bank and you're honest with the bank about what you can and what your numbers are, it is more likely that the bank will lend you money to make your business successful. You've heard about companies ending up in trouble because they overestimated their profits and underestimated their liabilities to borrow money. One good example is Donald Trump, who's facing fraud charges currently in the United States because of his personal corporate empire, who is accused of defrauding the banks with their earnings and liabilities when they borrowed money. All right, so let's look at a transparency model. And this transparency model is very, very simple and straightforward. Transparency means acting in a manner that is ethical and consistent, that everybody believes you. Number two, always disclose and don't keep secrets. Do not try to show that you know something that you don't. Always involve the people you're working with, stakeholder participation. Make sure that you're always relevant with the business you're running. Share information with stakeholders. Okay? Be clear. Share information which is easily understood. Do not make them have to struggle or confuse them. Make sure it's credible. Okay, what do you mean by credible? Make sure positive and negative information that support your decisions or give your stakeholders or staff the correct information they need to make business decisions. Don't lie to them and cover up. Make sure there's accuracy in the information you share with the people that you're trying to lead. These are 7 critical ingredients of transparency. Just like when you bake a chocolate cake, you have ingredients: flour, milk, butter, sugar, chocolate, or cocoa powder. Transparency also has 7 core ingredients. All right. Workplace transparency, again, is about being open, forthright, truthful. It's when you, as the leadership or the manager, commits to always giving feedback, leading people, and keeping people advised of how the company's doing, what they have done, reward them for their efforts, and make sure you keep them motivated by being honest of what you expect them to achieve. Now, if you show transparency to your employees, in return, your employees basically will respond by showing their commitment to you. And how will they show that? By asking you questions, sharing ideas, and asking you for help when they face a problem or a challenge. But if you're not transparent to them and they're afraid to come and ask you a question, you are no longer an authentic leader. Can anybody tell me the difference between a leader and a boss? What is the difference? Come on, who can tell me? Put up your hand if you can tell me the difference between a leader and a boss. Yes, Kong, what is the difference? Go ahead, Kong. What's the difference?
Yeah, hi, hello, sir. I think leader is the man that guide us on the task, follow us on the
Yes.
procedure and process we done, and
Yes.
uh,
And the boss?
yeah, and the boss is the man who assign tasks for us, and we must follow we must have a duty. What's the assignment from boss? Yeah, I think it's different between
Okay.
boss
All
and
right.
leader.
All right. Good. You're on the right track. Thank you, Kong. Very good. Okay, so Kong is right. The difference between a leader and a boss is a leader leads by example. A leader shows, you try, he corrects you, he constantly follows up with you. That's a leader. He's involved. He's transparent. A boss is different. A boss is a dictator. In every business, if you run a factory with 2,000 people making phones for Foxconn, the factory supervisors sometimes have to be bosses. You either do the job, stop talking, focus on getting 1,000 units an hour, or you lose your job. There's bosses in every business. But can everybody in the business be a boss? No. There should be a boss, but you should also have leaders who lead those bosses to run the company. Does everybody understand that? So a leader leads, he pulls, and people follow a leader. A boss gives orders, he pushes. And what happens when a boss pushes too hard? People run, people leave, and therefore the company's rate of retention goes down. People start leaving. You have to hire new people all the time. Does everybody understand the difference between push and pull? A leader pulls, staff follow. A boss pushes, staff run. Do you all understand that? Yes or no? Very good. Okay, let me go on. Okay, so remember, we've covered transparency. We've covered being truthful. The other part of being able to be authentic, being able to be transparent, is that you listen to what people have to say. Remember, being authentic is not pretending to know everything. So that means you need to listen to people. Listening is not practicing silence, waiting for your turn to speak. Rather, listening is turning off the me mind and turning on the you mind. Let me give you an explanation. If you are at home and Kong's mother is giving him a lecture for not cleaning his room, Kong will hear his mother telling, Kong, you're lazy. You didn't clean your room. And Kong will let the information go in one ear and out the other, because Kong is only thinking of me. He doesn't care about what his mother thinks of his room. That's not listening. That is hearing. Active listening is when Kong says, yes, Mum, what is it that you want me to clean? You want me to sweep the floor, change your bed sheets? Okay, mother, I will do it tomorrow. So active listening is when one listens to the other person's and actually asks questions to better understand and come to mutual consensus. So during listening, it is very important to actually make eye contact when possible, or if you're talking over the phone, to actually ask questions to show your understanding of what they're saying. Active listening, ladies and gentlemen, requires you to very simply follow this. Use open and closed questions. Avoid prejudice. Make sure you reflect by asking questions based on what they tell you, which is probing. Let them speak before you interrupt. If you can see them, observe their body language. And if you can see someone talking and you're happy with what they're saying, show facial body language and encouragement. Listen for what they're saying and show interest. And at the end of the day, summarize what you've discussed and come to a consensus. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Do you all understand that? Yes or no? Okay. All right. So can anybody tell me what's the difference between actively listening to your boyfriend or girlfriend and hearing them? Can anyone give me a difference? Put your hand up. Come on. Who'd like to give me the difference? Come on. Don't be shy. Let's talk to Sherry. Sherry Aileen, go ahead. Unmute your microphone, young lady. Go ahead, Sherry. Hi, Sherry.
Actually, I don't have a boyfriend, sir, but I have two kids actually.
Yeah, go on.
Based on my experience, being a good listener, when I'm talking to my kids, I can really difference. The other one is listening, but he's not doing it in action. But the other one, when I am talking to her, she's listening and understanding it. At the same time, on the next day, she is already applying it. So sometimes I will always tell them that you should not have to listen, but remember to apply or to understand what I am telling. It's quite different of listening and
Sherry
understanding.
Aileen, you're a very good mother. I'm the father of one daughter who's 7 years old. And let me give you some advice. You're probably more experienced than me because you have two. The one that is listening to you is because they are interested in what you're saying, okay? And what I found is if they don't listen to you, it means you have to use more examples and stories to try to make them interested. So you have to find out what number two is interested in. Like if number two is interested in TV games, you need to try to capture, well, you know how you like playing games, you need to listen to what mummy's saying. As soon as you touch on a point that they're interested in, number two will start listening to you. Try it. I tried it with my daughter and it works. I hope it helps you. All right. But you're on the right track, Sherry. You need, the only way you can get somebody to actively listen is to engage their interest. Do you understand what I mean by that? Yes?
Yes,
Good on
sir.
you. How old are your children, Sherry?
I have 19 and I have 17.
Okay, which one is the one that doesn't listen? The 19 or the
I'm
17?
17 years old.
All right, the 17 is going through teenagehood. They're going through a time where they're learning to become adults or thinking they're adults already, okay, but they've got a while to go. All right, so you just need to keep motivating them, Sherry. God bless you. You're much more experienced than me. Mine is only 7 years old. God bless you, Sherry. I might need some advice from you one day. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Okay, good. All right. Does anybody else want to add? Go ahead, Dennis. Yes, Dennis, what's your question? Go ahead, Dennis. Can you share with me, Dennis? Go ahead.
Hello, hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Active listening is if you ask him or her, they can answer
Yeah,
you perfectly. But the someone listening is just like example in the school. You are presently active but mildly absent.
very
It's
good. You're on the right track.
okay.
Yeah, you're on the
Okay.
right track. Very good. So what you're saying, Dennis, is for people to confirm their active listening is when they talk to you and you ask each other questions. Is that right? But if somebody listens to you and then just says yes at the end, they're not actively listening. They're just hearing. Am I right, Dennis? Dennis, do you have a girlfriend? Can you open your microphone, Dennis? Talk to me. Now you're hearing me. You're not listening. Do you have a girlfriend? Open your microphone. Open, unmute.
Okay.
Come on, unmute. I want you to
Okay,
listen
sir.
to I'm going to make two comments to you, all right? And I want you to listen carefully and I want to see your reaction, everyone. Okay? You're talking to your girlfriend and you say, you know, darling, we've been going out with each other for 6 months. I really love you. Number one. Number two, you know what? I like you. Tell me, Dennis, which one do you think she'll respond to? One or two?
Uh, I think number one.
Why do you think she's going to respond to number one? I use two verbs that she is going to want to hear, right? Because she's your girlfriend. What was the first one? Love, right? To love,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yes.
so remember when you're having a discussion with someone,
Mhm.
always use language relevant to the topic that catches their interest. Do you all understand that? Don't go off target. Be honest, be transparent. Does everybody follow that? Yes or no? Thank you, Dennis. Thank you so much. All right, let me go on. Okay, does anybody have any questions about that example of love? No? You all agree with me? Yes or no? Wave your hands. Come on. Roland, do you agree with that, Roland? Very good, Roland. Okay, very good, Catherine. Very good. Okay, let me go back to my presentation. Okay, so we all understand active listening. So active listening, if not in the same room, you need to visualize and imagine what the person on the other side of the phone is listening to. Is he a managing director? Is he your friend? Is he older than you, younger than you? You need to visualize this in your head so you can try to deliver the right message. If you're having a telephone conversation with a client and you know their name and company, you should go and search their profile on LinkedIn and try to find out who they are before you have that business conversation. So you know what matters are of interest to them and stick to the facts. Be transparent. All right. So remember, there is some barriers to listening and you need to be aware of them. Don't try to overreach or underreach. Just be honest and transparent. Don't try to assume that all girls are the same. You know, there's an old saying that blonde girls are dumb. That's stupid. I learned that at high school. I was 16 years old when I went to my first school dance. You know that? I was 16 years old. Before that, every year at high school, there was a school dance. I was too afraid to go. I used to cry in my room and say to Mum, I don't want to go to the school end of year dinner dance. And she only convinced me that I had to go at the age of 16. And when I went to my first school dance, all these blonde girls came up to me because back then I was young and I had blonde curly hair. I was a 16-year-old, yeah, I don't know whether I was a spunk or a hunk or whatever my mother used to call me. I don't remember, but I was too afraid to go out with a blonde girl. Why? Because all the other boys at school used to go around and say, she's blonde, she's dumb. And that was the biggest mistake that I ever made. And let me tell you why. I went to the ball at 16 and I got asked to dance. All right. I got asked to dance by a girl with blonde hair, like Fee Baltazar, and she was beautiful like her with long blonde hair, and she was smiling at me, and she came up to me in my black tuxedo, which my mother paid $200 to rent for me, and she said, "Hey, Willie, would you like to dance?" My name was Wally, but she called me Willie, and she ran her hand on my face. I looked at her and my sudden reaction was, she's blonde. And I said, no. Do you know why that was a mistake? Can anybody tell me? Why do you think it was a mistake? That girl, Fee Baltazar, lookalike, she graduated our year at senior high school as valedictorian of the class. She was the highest scoring student amongst 488 students. She beat me by some 10 points to become the school's valedictorian of the graduating class. Number two, at the end of the prom that night, she became the prom queen. Do you understand what that means? She became the prom queen. But why did I not have a chance to dance with her and be her prom prince? Because I had the false perception. Okay, I went in there with preconceived ideas. Never do that when you talk to someone. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Yes or no? Come on, wave your hands, everyone. Sorry, Fee, I used you as a beautiful example. Please forgive me. Is that okay? Forgive me. Thank you, Fee. All right. Never underestimate. Blonde women are some of the smartest women in the world. You don't worry about the hair color or what they're wearing. You worry about the person and their personality. Never underestimate. Never go in there with preconceived judgment. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? And I've never forgiven myself because that girl, the prom queen, is now CEO of one of the largest computer technology companies in Australia. And I'm no longer in her life. I've got another successful woman in my life, but it's not that blonde woman. Do you all understand that? Yes or no? You all understand where I'm coming from? Okay, very good. Let me go back to my slides. Okay, so we've looked at the barriers. Don't try to take the spotlight. Don't use language which is offensive. Do not use unsuitable responses. Do not pretend that you know everything. Do not use inappropriate non-verbal language like scratch your nose while they're talking to you, cover your mouth, or close your fists, which shows that you don't believe them or you're not telling the truth. Don't scratch your nose or cover your mouth while you're talking. Don't keep looking at your watch while you're talking, because all of that is negative body language. Do not use complicated responses. Believe in Jobs, keep it simple. Steve Jobs, keep it simple. Do not be physical or aggressive. Be respectful and respect other cultures. Does everybody understand this? Yes or no? Wave your hands, everyone. Thank you. All right, so the next part of being authentic is prioritizing. It means figuring out what has to be done and doing the most important things first and managing your time. That's part of being authentic. Prioritization in leadership is really important. And you need to understand that there is two different types of leadership or authentic leadership. There is what we call directive leadership and what we call a supportive leadership. Let's talk about the first one. The first one is enthusiastic beginner. And this talks about low competence, high commitment, needs strong direction. Number 2 at the top is a disillusioned learner, variable competence, low commitment, and needs coaching. All right, let's go across the other side. We've got capable but cautious, and this person has high competence, variable commitment, and needs support. If we go down to the bottom, we have self-reliant achiever, high competence, high commitment, and needs delegated authority. Now, let me tell you, which two do you think make a leader? Is it S1 and 2 or is it S3 and 4? Who can tell me? Come on, put your hand up. Who can tell me? Yes, which one do you think, Hajar, make an effective leader? Go ahead. Unmute your microphone, Hajar.
Yeah, for me, I think the S4 by sure.
Okay, so you would say that leadership starts at S3, but the ideal authentic leader is at S4. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes, yes. S4, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, supportive leadership is correct leadership. Directive leadership is more of a manager who pushes people run. Supportive leadership is where you pull and people follow. So S3 and 4 are the definition of the ideal authentic leader. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Okay, very good. Okay, transparency in the 21st century business model is really important because being authentic means being honest, being transparent. And for you to be able to run a company as an authentic leader or apply authentic leadership, you need to remember the following. You need to remember that you have to be open and transparent. You have to be comfortable telling the truth to your people. Don't actually hide. Be honest and transparent. Don't make black gray or gray black. Be honest. Hold an ask me anything session. Make sure that as a leader, your door's open and encourage your managers to have an open door and communicate with the people that work for them. Make sure that you actually give your people empowerment, give them access to information to empower them to do their job so that they feel motivated. Always ask why. Always make them feel important. Involve the people in decision making. Share learnings, success, and failures as a leader. Remember what we said? S3, S4. Make sure that you have regular updates, whether it's weekly, monthly, quarterly. Make sure if you are CEO, you have monthly updates, but make sure your managers have daily or weekly updates with their team. Otherwise, the whole leadership will go off track and people will no longer feel that they have leaders. By making data readily available, by being honest and transparent, people will take ownership for their performance and they'll feel motivated because they feel like you empower them with the information and they feel like they are part of the business. Be honest and admit when you don't know an answer. Don't fake one. Always acknowledge if there's a mistake and admit to it. Remember, honesty, being forthcoming, being honest and transparent are critical. Always explain your decisions. Be forthright. Be open. Transparency applies openness, communication, and accountability. Don't hide things that other people can find out, because if they find it out, then they question your honesty and you lose respect as a leader. Corporate governance pillars are: as a leader, you must be accountable, you must be fair, you must be transparent, and you must show people that they have the empowerment to work and do things. All right. You must show that there is independence down the line of the hierarchy. But in order for them to have independence, you must give them empowerment. And the only way they feel empowered is by you sharing the right informations and being honest and transparent. 4 pillars of corporate governance are teaming, democracy, being strategic, and holding people accountable. All of these follow the pillars of S3 and 4. Do you all understand that, guys? Can you wave your hands to me if you understand that? Yes or no? Everybody wave their hands. All right. If you're a dictator, okay, like Hitler was, there is no leadership. Basically, he orders, they shoot. Okay, that's what he did. He ordered, they shoot, they shot. That was dictatorship. There was no leadership. It was a dictatorship. Okay, that's why people ran. When we talk about leadership, as such, and the principles of authentic leadership, okay, when we talk about the principles of authentic leadership, we talk about staff, we talk about the manager or the CEO, we talk about the board, and we talk about the board members. All of them understand each other and work as a team. We talk about democracy. We talk about the staff, again, the general manager, the CEO, the board members, and people that are involved in everyday operations. They are all on the same wavelength. They understand. Okay, they understand there's democracy. There's no secrets. Everybody understands the vision, the mission, and the objectives of the company. And this goes all the way through to empowerment. By people being motivated, they feel a sense of empowerment, and therefore they're able to deliver. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Wave your hands if you understand, please. Very good. All right, the 4 pillars of trust. Okay, again, social reliability, security and reliability, because if they trust you, they feel secure. In order to achieve that, you have to show them transparency and let them have accessibility. You have to make sure that you demonstrate a sense of privacy and control and respect the privacy of people and information, as it may be detrimental to others. And you have to have a sense of ethics and responsibility, not only towards your own staff, but to your customers in protecting their data. The 4 pillars of trust, very simple. Okay, organizations that respect customers and customers' preferences on what date to collect and how and what data to handle is respected. Okay, data privacy. Every country has data privacy or data protection laws. That's part of the 4 pillars of trust. Does everybody understand that? Okay, all right. Simplicity. Steve Jobs said, keep it simple. Simplicity is not just about minimalism. It's about the absence of clutter. It's about deeply showing an understanding of what the company is doing, how its human capital works, and how each job is supposed to be performed. And this is one of the most difficult tasks a leader has to show his people. Imagine Jeff Bezos during COVID, they multiplied the number of customer orders online by 25 times their normal numbers. Yet there was simplicity and transparency. They were able to ship their orders. And that's what took Amazon from just being an online e-commerce site to one of the world's most successful e-commerce sites. For many leaders, managers, and or supervisors, it is an old picture, but still valid. Developing something simple is hard work, but complexity can be created easily. So managers sometimes avoid making it simple. All right. So remember, complexity can be created easily, but creating something which is completely intuitive and simple to use is very hard. But unfortunately, if you want to be an authentic leader, there's no easy way. You have to be intuitive and you have to make it simple. And if you don't know what that means, it means that you are not authentic. Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. You shouldn't be doing it. Complexity is your enemy. Any fool can make something complicated, but it takes a smart person to make something simple. Richard Branson. Richard Branson is one of the world's richest men. He is responsible for Virgin Atlantic Airways, Virgin Atlantic Airlines, and many other successes around the world. Simplicity in terms of business, simplicity is a focused agenda to eliminate unnecessary and ineffective processes. Keep it strategically simple. Keep it simple. All right, let's go on. Very simple. If we look at this, all right, the hierarchy of interaction of an organization and its arrangements, keep it simple. Why, how, and what? Or what are you trying to say? How should they do it? And why should they do it? Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Come on, wave your hands. Wave your hands, everyone. Do you understand that, Hajar? Very good. Okay, the evolution of 21st century management, it basically came, look at it. It's very simple. Amazon, 2002, Apple, iMac. Amazon went to become Amazon Prime. It introduced loyalty programs. It grew its customer base. They both went from product to convenience for their customers. By multiple firm loyalty, Amazon Marketplace, Apple iTunes, Apple App Store, okay, they went to becoming customer recipients, getting feedback from their customers, having multiple firm ecosystems where they work together and they provided exceptional customer service. Let's go to the next one, customer driven experience. So they went from being just a product to providing convenience plus service, and to delivering an experience. That requires 21st century authentic leadership. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Look at one of the world's biggest game companies, Riot Games. It's gone from being just a small gaming company to being one of the world's most successful gaming companies because of the simplicity in how people play their games and how they service their customer and provide support. Okay, does everybody understand that? Look at Spotify. Spotify started as a music download site and has gone to become one of the world's largest music download sites. Do you all understand these examples I'm referring to? Yes or no? Okay. All right, let's talk about 20th century versus 21st century. In the 20th century, basically you had high percentage of manufacturing industries. Now in the 21st century, all those industries have gone to becoming more of service industries. Emphasis on functional expertise. Now the emphasis is on people management and processes by being authentic leaders. It used to be focused in the 20th century on the domestic market, but now companies have realized that the domestic markets alone cannot make them grow and become multi-million dollar companies. If we go down that list, we talk about number 6, well-defined industry boundaries. Now we have defined industry boundaries. We have more detailed defined industry boundaries that go into more detailed definition, 3 times more detailed and in simpler format. Okay, we talk about number 6, bricks and mortar. Now companies can no longer rely on bricks and mortar. They have to have virtual offices, virtual presence, online presence. Okay, before we used to rely on communication, slow and unreliable. Now communication has to be instantaneous and continuous. That's part of being an adaptable manager. It's part of being what we're talking about today. Look at the definition of 20th century versus 21st century. The 21st century CEO is anyone who is willing to learn and practice what they preach. Steve Jobs taught what he believed to the people that he brought to Apple Inc. Remember when Steve Jobs first started working with Apple, okay, they fired him. They told him he wasn't good enough. He didn't fit the company culture. He went outside. He started his own company for 2 years. Then Apple bought him out to bring him back as CEO. The people that he first used to work for that fired him now worked for him. He believed in bringing the people who know their business into the business and bringing their creativity and letting them shine, because he admitted, I have ideas, but I need brilliant people to make them happen. And that's what made Apple what it is today. Steve Jobs had a saying, do not employ experts and tell them how to do their jobs. Let them do the job, just motivate them and give them targets to achieve. 21st century leadership means agility. Agility. Leaders, managers. You see the leader? The leader pulls, people follow. The manager pushes, people run. Okay. A 21st leader, 21st century leader has to relate, he has to create, and he has to instigate change. Today's leaders are faced with increasingly fluid workforces as they experienced through COVID-19, and only leaders, ladies and gentlemen, who were authentic leaders were able to survive. One of the only ways to get out of a tight box is to invent your way out. And that meant that leaders has to be transparent. Leaders had to be honest. Leaders had to tell their team or people about the struggles they were going through during COVID-19 and what they had to do to make their business work. Jeff Bezos at Amazon said, to get something new done, you have to be stubborn and focused to the point that others might find you unreasonable. You have to invent, you have to experiment. And if you know in advance that it's going to work, it's not an experiment. Jeff Bezos did that. And guess what? He went from just being an online e-commerce platform to becoming one of the world's most successful e-commerce platforms, where his number of customers multiplied by some 25 times during COVID-19, because he understood that having everything done by humans is too slow. He had artificial intelligence and robots help in his 20 distribution centers around the world, which he had planned, because he knew that having distribution centers different parts of the world will cut down delivery time. By having the products in different distribution centers around the world will mean I can be honest and transparent to my customer and deliver on time. Jeff Bezos. All right, effective, authentic leader strategy. You have to be a transformational leader. Transformational leaders place a lot of trust in their trained employees. They empower them to make decisions, and they let them help and encourage them to be creative throughout the workforce. Jeff Bezos was transformational leadership style. He was able to create customer-driven environment at Amazon by splitting his workforce into small teams, make them really focused on what they were doing and letting them feel like they were empowered by giving them the right or the tools to do what they could achieve through creativity. Evaluate the impact and consequences on a regular basis. Be honest and transparent with your workforce. Delegate or outsource. Don't try to do everything yourself. Avoid multitasking. Make sure that you delegate to the right people. Don't try to just overload some people, because by doing that, you take their focus away from what they're doing. Just give them the power to do what they're doing and let them do it. Don't try to multitask. Just delegate and let people focus on doing something and doing it well. Learn to say no when you have to. Make sure that you encourage people to manage their time for different tasks. Don't ask them to do 2 or 3 things at once, which may impact the result. Regularly review and update. That's part of authentic leadership. Break down complex tasks and keep them simple. Remember, being authentic in your personal and professional life is very much the same as being authentic in your professional life. Understand your values and beliefs. Remember, our values as individuals and principles as individuals guide our actions and decisions in life, and they reflect what is important to us in the way we behave. Set boundaries and prioritize your life. If you have a girlfriend, don't promise her that you can marry her next year unless you know you can do that. All right? Because if you do promise and don't carry it out, they'll end up walking away. Okay? Prioritize. Be honest and open. Don't keep secrets in your life. Embrace diversity and inclusion. Inclusion means creating a sense of belongingness for those that you're working with and for those around you in your professional life, okay? Belongingness in your personal life means making sure that you don't ignore your family. Make sure they feel a sense of belongingness, especially if you're in a relationship. Does everybody understand by what I mean about authentic in your personal life? Does everybody understand what I'm trying to say? Yes or no? Can you wave your hands? Can everybody wave their hands to me? Yes or no? Okay, so always reflect on what we're saying. Being authentic is not just about your professional life, it's about your personal life, okay? It's about your personal life. If you're not authentic to the people you're with in your personal life, how can you demonstrate an authentic behavior in your professional life? You can't. Yes, Hajar, go ahead. Are you there, Hajar? Go ahead.
Yeah. Authentic in personal life, it's mean being honest, clear, like it's the same value in work as in personal. It's the same person. It's the same personality. You cannot
Yeah,
be in color in a side and the other side you will be white and black.
you're absolutely right. You're on absolutely the right track. Thank you very much. Much appreciate that, Hajar. You know, let's talk about this. Let's relate this to reality. You know, in my younger days when I was at university, I went out with more than one young lady and I made a mistake. I wasn't transparent because I had more than one friend or female friend. And eventually I lost the one that I really cared about because I wasn't honest to her about the others. Do you all understand that? And that's something that I regretted for many years until I fell in love with the love of my life now, my wife, who was the best person in my life and will forever be my best friend. And, you know, we have a beautiful daughter. But was that a mistake for me before I met my wife? Oh, hell yeah. I suffered. It took me 3 or 4 years before I met my wife and fell in love with her after my first relationship. Do you understand that, everyone? Because I wasn't authentic. Do you understand that? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can everybody wave their hands? It's the same about being authentic in business. If you're not authentic in business, if you're not upfront and keep secrets from your clients about what you're selling them or how you're selling them or the service you're going to provide them, eventually that will have a negative after effect on your business and will impact the way those customers perceive your business. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Yes or no? Let me give you some examples. There is companies in Europe that have faced humiliation because of the way they treated their staff. Okay? Some companies in Europe don't respect environmental factors. They're not environmentally friendly. And they tell customers that they're environmentally friendly, but they're not. And when they're exposed, they have lost clients and it has almost brought those companies to failure. Do you understand that? To doom. Yes or no? Do you understand that? All right. Does anybody know why McDonald's don't give you a straw anymore? Who goes to McDonald's? Does anybody go to McDonald's? Okay. When you go to McDonald's, do McDonald's give you a straw? Yes or no? No. Why? Why don't they give you a straw, Maria? Open your microphone. Why? Hi, Maria. Why do McDonald's not give you a straw?
They say they don't like save the earth
They're saving the environment. They're trying to keep their
environment.
promise of being environmentally friendly. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you think that's important to McDonald's to be environmentally friendly? What would happen to them if they weren't environmentally friendly? Do you think that would affect their business in today's society?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay, very good. It does. Look at the way we do business today. Customer expects you to be transparent and environmentally friendly. The customer is not stupid. If you tell your customer lies, do you think your customer is going to buy from you? Oh no. Jiongwan, do you think your customer will buy from you if you lie to them? Jiongwan, wave your hands if you think you can lie to your customer. You can't. Okay, you can't. Let me give you an example. I'm going to give you a hypothetical example, and I want you all to take this as a hypothetical or actual fact, it's a real example. Does everybody here know Singapore Airlines? Wave your hands if you know Singapore Airlines. Come on, wave your hands. Okay, very good. Does everybody know Korean Airlines? Wave your hands if you know Korean Airlines. Come on. All right, let's start with Singapore Airlines. Singapore Airlines, many years ago, when I was a young kid, 23, 24, when I got my first professional job, they never used to say, come fly Singapore Airlines. Does anybody know what they used to advertise? Who can tell me? You should know this, Hajar. I taught you this in another class. What did Singapore Airlines advertise? Does anyone know? Roland? Roland? Come on, Roland. What did they advertise? Open your microphone, Roland. Are you there, Roland? Unmute your microphone. Do you remember? Yes or no? You don't. Okay, it's all right. Singapore Airlines used to advertise, come fly the Singapore girl. It was never about come fly Singapore Airlines. It was always a picture of the Singapore girl. Come fly the Singapore girl. When my boss first told me at a meeting with his secretary, I want you to fly the Singapore girl. You must be in Singapore tomorrow at 3 p.m. for a meeting. Yes, boss. Do you understand? Yes, boss. I walked out of his office, Roland. I went straight to the secretary's desk. And what question did I ask her, Roland? Hi, Roland. What question did I
Yes,
ask
sir.
his secretary? What question did I ask his secretary? Do you know?
The
No?
schedule that you will be flying.
Yeah, I said to her, which airline am I flying? She said, he just told you, the Singapore girl. I said, yeah, but there's no airline called the Singapore girl. Her name was Denise, by the way. And she said, yes, there is, Wally. It's Singapore Airlines. So I shut my mouth like a little management trainee. I went to my desk. Singapore girl, nothing. Singapore Airlines. I went to Singapore Airlines website, and of course, what? It says, come fly the Singapore girl, right? So I went
Yes.
and flew the Singapore girl. And my boss had a philosophy, always fly the Singapore girl because they welcome you. They have this charming personality and they're always on time. I did. So that was a message that Singapore Airlines were trying to send to their customer. We care. And what better message were they trying to deliver than a beautiful lady saying, I care about you? For the young business male traveler, which was 90% of their business class cabin and first class cabin, of course, a beautiful girl in the cabin made you fly with them. Every young business traveler was booking Singapore Airline on his company business account. But what happened to that after many years? What happened to that campaign? Can anybody know? Women became more sensitive. And they said to Singapore Airlines, you mean you only want men to come and fly the Singapore girl? Is that what you're trying to say? Why can't you say, come fly the Singapore man? So what happened to Singapore Airlines? As people became more aware of discrimination and people became more discrimination sensitive, Singapore Airlines had to do away with come fly the Singapore girl. So now they say, come fly Singapore Airlines. They promote the luxury of Singapore Airlines and the friendly cabin service. They still show you a picture of a female flight attendant and a male flight attendant, but previously it was all female in their advertising. Do you all understand that? Yes or no? Transparency from the corporate level all the way down to their customer. Now let's take Korean Airlines, and no discrimination, no disrespect to anyone from Korea. Korean Airlines had a problem several years ago. There was a Korean airline aircraft that was about to take off from an airport around the world. And a certain lady who was the daughter of the CEO of Korean Airlines was on board that aircraft. And there was a mistake in the way her peanuts and her drink was served by the flight attendant. Instead of her waiting till she got back to Korea, what did she do? Does anyone know what she did? She delayed the aircraft. She made it go back to the aircraft gate, and she actually abused the flight attendant. All right. Now, what happened to that? Everybody around the world heard that a Korean airline, KE flight, one of the world's most respected airlines. Korean Airlines is a very expensive world #1 class airline. It's more expensive than Singapore Airlines on some flights because of their level of service. It's incredible. I've flown with them. Okay. But what happened is there was a sense of a lack of transparency that the captain told the passengers, we apologize for going back to the gate. We have an operational problem. So what did the passengers assume? It was a technical problem, right? You're delaying an aircraft with 359 passengers plus. It was a Boeing 747 to be exact. Okay? So then it came out that the CEO's daughter was being a control freak. What happened when she got back to Korea? Her father, the CEO, correctly apologized to not only the passengers, but Korean Airlines' honesty to customers, apologized for the airline, and he removed his daughter from the company. Do you understand what I mean by transparency, honesty, simplicity? That is one of the greatest examples of a CEO of an airline showing transparency to his customers. It was his own daughter. He removed her. Do you all understand that? Can anybody wave to me to confirm that? Anybody want to wave? Very good. Excellent. Okay. And that is why Korean Airlines today is one of the world's most respected airlines. You know, if you count the world's top 10 airlines, Korean Airlines, Singapore Airlines, Japan Airlines, British Airways, okay, Lufthansa, okay, there are a number of the top 10 or 12 airlines around the world. Emirates, Etihad, some people say Qatar Airways, but they all have something about their honesty and transparency with the customer. Does everybody understand those examples? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. Can I ask you a question? Let's ask a question. Can you give me one example in your life where you could have been more transparent and been authentic to get a better result? Can anybody give me an example? Go ahead. Anyone? Okay, let's talk to Christy. Christy Pamalino. Go ahead, Christy. Can you unmute your microphone for me? Go ahead, ma'am. You there, Christy? Go ahead. Welcome to the session.
Hello,
Welcome to
sir.
Leadership Series.
Good afternoon here in Dubai.
You're
For
welcome.
example, sir, for me, in my experience, in TikTok, and we have the organization that helping with someone in the Philippines. We have a
Yeah,
charity. As a
yeah,
leader, I'm authentic. I'm authentic. I'm a good listener to my member
yeah.
for what their suggestion for us for the charity. So, being a leader, you must to listen to your member. So that is a
Right.
big help to your team to progress to have progress.
Okay, so you think that being authentic, being honest, being simple, and being transparent is important in that scenario?
Yes, sir. Very important.
Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Christy. Very good example. Very good example. Let's go to Roland. Go ahead, Roland. Hi, Roland. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good evening to everybody.
Yeah.
I have one example with me in my workplace.
Yes.
Actually, there was a discrepancy of the price of the spare parts. Actually, I'm purchasing some materials during in case of emergency. So I
Yeah.
do the purchasing, and there was a discrepancy on one of the parts that was in the invoice. So
Yeah.
the accounting directly go to our manager and complain about the price. So I was surprised when they called me regarding these things. So directly in front of the manager and in front of the accounting, I called the supplier and
Yeah.
I make it loud sound so that everybody can hear what we are talking
Yeah.
about.
Yes.
So when the supplier confirmed to me that the spare parts that we brought with our company was more expensive because the parts is original. So that means
Right.
there is different prices regarding the original and the duplicate parts.
So that
So
means the
from
supplier did not tell you that at the beginning. He shipped the original parts without telling you the price difference. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, sir. So
And what happened? How did you
right
resolve
there,
it?
right there, everybody understand, and also for me, also that time I understand why the price is different from the old spare parts and the new spare parts because
So does
of
that mean
the
that the next time, you order spare parts, you'll ask the question, is it original or not?
actually, sir, they don't inform me regarding these things. Just they provide us the spare parts, and then
Right.
it reflects on the price. Then when they
Okay.
check it, the old price and the new price, there is discrepancy of
Of
the price.
course,
So I was
because
on.
the yeah, because the supplier should have told you the discrepancy before they invoiced you. So that means your
Yes, you're right.
supplier wasn't being transparent. And
Yes, sir.
remember, in procurement, you should have more than one supplier because there's only one way to teach that supplier a lesson. To say you supplied a part, you never informed us of the difference, so therefore we have to look to another supplier who protects our interests. The supplier has a responsibility to be transparent, and you should not let the supplier forget that. The supplier has to be transparent to you, Roland. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. But right
Okay.
there and then, my manager and the accounting personnel
Yeah.
understand that there was no any corruption on my side because
So they thought that you were trying to rip the company off or being corrupt. Is that right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
have
sir.
you had
Because
the same
I, I,
problem
I
ever again?
no, no, sir. That is only once, just last month ago.
And are you still dealing with the same supplier?
Now we are looking for another supplier, sir.
Well, I think you should hurry up and find one because I think you have a problem with that supplier. No supplier should be allowed to do that. And the only time suppliers do that is when they know that you have no one else, they'll get away with it. So my
Yes, sir.
advice to you, being an academic, that supplier is playing what we call the double rope. Okay. And the
But yeah,
supplier
but
obviously knows you have no other supplier. So he knows if he ups the price, you have to buy. And that's why he did it. He probably had the other parts in his warehouse. The
yes,
minute that supplier feels the pain, knowing that you have other suppliers, he will never do that to you again.
but my only on my side, the only thing is that I just want to prove to them that I'm honest with my work.
Yeah, but you hold on. It's not only about you being honest. You also have a duty to the company to hurry up and take steps to make sure this never happens again, right, Roland?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good, Roland.
Thanks for that, sir.
Roland, if you
Thanks for
need
that.
any help or advice, just WhatsApp me. If you have any other situation you want advice on, I'd be happy to help you. All right, mate?
Thank you so much for that, sir. I
It's my
appreciate
pleasure,
it.
Roland. It's my absolute pleasure.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Anybody else have any questions for Wally? Anybody else? Anybody else have a question for Wally? Come on, guys. Everybody's gone quiet on me. I've been teaching for 2 hours. Ask me some questions. Make me feel good, please. No one? My God. Am I that good? Okay. All right. No worries. Let's talk to Hajar. Yeah, Hajar, you're the only one that asks me questions. Okay. Go ahead, Hajar. What's your question?
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So about the barriers of active listening,
Yes.
what I'm thinking it's about having expectation or fears or judgment. So is it
Okay, so when you go into a conversation having preconceived judgment, so you say to yourself, oh, I don't want to employ this person. They were rude to my receptionist. Then you go and do an interview. That's preconceived judgment. You should never go in with preconceived judgment because you're not going to be fair to the other person. So whenever you go into a conversation, you should start it without preconceived judgment. Okay, let me give you an example. All right. Can I give you an example? Let me go into
yeah,
a
sure.
practical example. Let's use an example that all the girls here would know. And I use this quite regularly because it seems to associate with most young students, especially women, and guys as well. You go into a beauty salon, ladies, you go into a Korean beauty salon or any hair salon. And tonight, Hajar and Sherry are going to a hair salon because the wedding anniversary is tomorrow and they want to look beautiful for their husbands or their boyfriends or their couple or whatever. Okay, so you go into this hair salon and the young Korean stylist comes up to you with his iPad. Hi, welcome. What are you looking for today? Have a seat. Would you like a coffee? As most of these high-end salons do, he gives you the iPad and you say, well, it's my wedding anniversary tomorrow and I want to look young the way I looked when I first married my husband. So he asks you what you're looking for. He gives you his iPad and then he brings out his technology. He said, let me take your picture and let the computer show you some styles that you might be interested in. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. If you went in there with a preconceived idea of what you want, are you going to walk out looking the best? Yes or no, Hajr?
I will look
If you
for what I want.
should you go in there with a preconceived idea or should you be open to suggestions? That's what I'm asking you.
Open to suggestion.
Very good. So preconceived is not being open to suggestions. It's actually saying, I'm not interested, I just want this. That is wrong in active listening. Do you all understand? Sorry, I'm using that example. I'm just trying to simplify it. You understand where I'm coming
Yes.
from? So having open mind is being open to ideas, even though at the end of the day, you want to get the result in your mind, but you should still be open-minded and listen to those ideas. Do you understand that? Does that answer your question, Hajr?
Yes, sure. I have
Thank
one
you.
more comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's regarding the democracy. Okay,
Yes.
it's the fear for the transparency, authentic. Okay, for me,
Yes.
I don't agree that much with democracy because it's for
Why?
me democracy. It's the most versus the less. So the most common or the ideas they comment together for one idea versus less people they are not agree with that idea. Sometimes I feel or not I feel I believe that this less people they don't they could have innovative idea creative. They are different, that's why they didn't agree with the others, and we need to take into consideration their idea more than the common one. From here, it comes the difference.
Yeah, okay,
It can
Hajr,
come the.
well, Hajr, no, I agree with what you're saying, but that means you as a leader have problems as a leader. Let me just explain. Democratic
Yeah.
leadership, many people, academics, even myself, when I first learned it at university 20, 30 years ago, I said to my professor, this is crap. You just delay everything. He said, no. What is crap about it is you have failed as a leader. Because if people in your democratic structure take too long to agree with you, it means they have not been informed and don't know what's going on. And that's why they haven't been involved along the way and they don't see your perspective. So when we talk about democratic, if you as a leader have actually been authentic in your leadership channel. And along the way, you've been open, transparent, and allowed them to share their creativity. Then every time you go to them for an idea, the democratic process will not be stagnated or delayed, as you said. So I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, Hajid, but you need to examine the cause of the failure in the democratic communication process. It's not because people intentionally want to do it. It's because the people trying to get the decision has failed to be authentic to them to start with. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, yes.
All right, good. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. But, Hajir, no, I think it's something that you learn from, ma'am. And that's why you got a guy like me trying to teach you this. If you today have said to yourself in your working career that being democratic is crap, then let me tell you, 10 years, 20 years ago, I believed the same thing. When I went to my first job, I believed the same thing. But let me tell you, I learned very quickly, Hajir, if you are authentic from day one, then being democratic is easy. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Because people get to know you and people get to respect you for being authentic. Sorry, do you understand what I said, Hajir?
Yeah, yeah. Being authentic,
Do
by
you,
sure,
do you,
it's
do you, do you
it.
agree with what I said, Hajir?
Yes.
Good,
Authentic
excellent.
for me,
Okay.
by sure. It's we gain credibility, honesty by authentic, but democracy maybe I have
Hajar,
misunderstood.
trust me, if you're being honest, you're being transparent, and you're sharing, then being democratic should be easy and democracy should be easy. Listen, if you need some more advice or you have some scenarios you want to share and I can try to correct them for you, just drop me a WhatsApp. I'd love to talk to you and try to fix it. All right. I'm happy to guide you. Okay. Would that help?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Does anybody else want to ask any questions before we go? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, to all of you, it's been my absolute pleasure delivering this leadership series. I hope that you've all learned something from what we call the authentic leadership style. Because today, more than ever, in a 21st century economy, being transparent, honest, and effective to both your customers, the people that work for you, and the people that drive your business are fundamental. They are the core of your success. Remember, the cash register will keep clicking. What you need to focus on as a leader is not the cash register clicking. You need to focus on the people who make that cash register click. Providing you're open, you're honest, you're transparent, and you lead and they follow, the cash register will keep clicking. But if you only focus on the cash register like Jack Welch did, you'll eventually not be respected as an authentic leader. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can you all wave your hands to me? Okay. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's been my absolute pleasure having you here today. Please make sure that you use what you've learned today. And if you have any questions, you can WhatsApp me and ask at any time. If you don't have my WhatsApp number, most of you have it because you've all been with me. Okay, if anybody doesn't have my WhatsApp number, put me a message in the chat box and I'll give it to you. But remember, everyone, that honesty, transparency, creativity, and being forthright are the core of everything, your personal life and your professional life. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. I wish you all a very pleasant afternoon. I look forward to seeing you next week at BizTalk 94 and in the very future for leadership again. Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. God bless you all. Everybody, you will get your certificate early next week. And for those of you who attended with your cameras on, you will also get a copy of the PowerPoint for today's session. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon and God bless you all. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. Bye. Take care, everyone. Keep on smiling, all right? Bye-bye. Bye. It's good to see you all. It's great having you all. I've really enjoyed today's session. Some of you asked some really great questions. Keep it up. Remember, learning is an ever-going journey. You never stop learning, Hajar. We learn something every day, even for me as an academic. I read one of my fellow academics' papers and I learn a new word every day. It's not a word that I don't know. It's just that a word that I didn't consider important in my vocabulary bank, and I just add it. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. It's been my absolute pleasure having you all here today. My co-hosts, can you put my mobile number in the chat box for any student that wants to contact me? +65 822 5220. Anybody else want to say anything before I go? All right, to my co-host, Mr. Dina, thank you for having me here today, boss. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you. God bless you all. Goodbye.